Hello. On this episode, we'll be learning how to make a simple YouTube subscriber counter using a Node MCU and an LCD screen. Let's get started. Alright, so to access the YouTube Data API, you first need to go to your console, your developer's console. So use the following link here, console.developers.google.com. And on the left, click on Library. And you're going to search for YouTube Data API version 3. You just click on it. Click on the Enable button. Now click on the APIs and Services button. And then click on Credentials. Click the Create Credentials button. API key. And here you'll have your API key, which you will need for later on in the sketch for the Arduino. So just copy that. It is important to remember that the API key is private, so you should not share it with anyone. Just hit close, and you can close this out, and that's all you need to do here. Alright, the next bit of information that we'll be needing is your YouTube channel ID. And to do so, you'll need to go to your YouTube channel. Click on your icon at the top right corner, and in the YouTube settings, go to Advanced Settings, last option at the bottom. And here you'll have your channel ID. Copy this and keep it for when we configure the Node MCU. So before we can program the ESP8266 or Node MCU module, you'll need to download the CH340 Drivers. You can find them on several sites. The one I've located it on was sparks.gogo.co.nz/ch340.html. Basically, you just choose your operating system, Windows, Macintosh, or Linux, and you'll have all the instructions available there. Just click on the link, and the setup will appear. It looks like this. And just simply hit the install button. And that's it. You can now program your ESP8266. So now we're ready to program the Node MCU. To do so, you'll need to do a couple of steps. First, download and install the Arduino IDE. Once you have that done, you'll need to change a few settings. So first go to File, Preferences, and where it says Additional Boards, Managers, URLs, you'll need to copy the following information. Once you have that copied, press OK. And now you can go to Tools, Boards, Board Manager. And in here, once it loads, just type ESP8266. Click on it, click on the Install button, and then click on the Close button. So now you go to Tools, Board, Node MCU 1.0. Next step is to go to Sketch, Include Library, Manage Libraries. You'll need to click on the search and search for YouTube API. Created by Brian Liu. Click on the Install button. Next, we're going to search for liquid crystal I2C. There will be several that'll appear in the list. We're looking for the one that was created by Frank D. Brabander. Click on Install and click on the Close button. So once you've downloaded the sketch called YouTube subscribers counter.ino, which will be available in the link below, you'll need to update a few settings. The first one is your Wi-Fi name. Next is your Wi-Fi password. Afterwards, we're going to need the API key that we got earlier. And then you'll need your channel ID. Once this is done, you may want to change some other settings. Now, in my case, my LCD is 20 by 2, so 20 characters long, 2 characters high. You may have a more common 16 by 2 or 16 by 4. If that's the case, just change these variables, and that'll reconfigure the LCD for the sketch. Next, by default, it prints on the first character and not character 0. Kind of confusing a bit, but the first one is 0. The second one is 1. I needed to do this because of the way the 3D case is made and its rounded corners. It looked better if I used the 1 position. But if you're creating your own case or just displaying it without a case, change that value to 0 and change this value to 0 as well, and everything will look good. So now you're ready to connect your ESP8266. So get your micro USB cable, connect it. Hopefully your CH340 drivers are configured properly. And you'll need to go to Tools, Port, and make sure you specify the last port that appeared in the list. In my case, it's COM5. It could be COM6 or any other number depending on where you connected it on your computer. So this is configured properly. We're now ready to click on Sketch and Upload. It will now compile the sketch, and then if everything is good, it'll upload it to the ESP8266. You may get some warnings about the liquid crystal I2C library. Don't worry about it. It's not an issue. And now we're uploading to the ESP8266 the code. The counter should now reboot, and within a few seconds, you will now just see your YouTube subscribers counter active. Welcome back to my workbench. So today we'll be building a YouTube subscriber counter using a 2002A version 1.1 LCD screen with an I2C chip, module I should say. We'll also be needing a Node MCU module. This has Wi-Fi built in and is programmed with Arduino. This is version 3 of the Node MCU. We'll also be needing for this project 4 cables, some solder, some soldering paste, and in this case I printed a 3D case to fit all this project in. So let's get started. So the first thing we'll need to do is get out the paste, and I'm gonna start with the ground. So I'm gonna use this black cable. Now I've already pre-soldered, added tin to the leading edge of the cable, and on the other end I've left the female connector of this jumper cable here, so that I can easily connect it the I2C module. So we'll just move this here for now. Soldering iron should be ready. Before I do that, I'm just going to add some soldering paste. Make sure everything is okay. So that we're going to use D1 and D2 and ground and V in. There we go. So let's start with the ground. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to use this orange cable for the VN. That's nice and good. The next for the D1, I'm going to use this yellow cable. D1, there we go. That's looking good. And lastly, D2, I'll be using this green cable. And that's it. We got our 4 cables nicely connected. Next, actually we'll clean up a bit here. Don't need this anymore. And this is optional. I mean, I chose to solder it, but if you used a female to female cable with female connectors, it'll just slide right in, be very quickly done in a few seconds. So the next part is to connect the Node MCU module to the LCD. And to do so, it's quite simple. The black cable goes to the VSS, like so. Our power, the orange cable, the VDD. Next is the green cable, so that's from D2 to the SDA pin. Oops. And finally, our yellow cable, which is the D1, goes to the SCL pin on the LCDs. And there we go. As simple as that. We'll get some power just to make sure it actually works before gluing it inside the screen here. And there we go. YouTube subscribers, 43. So now that we know it works, let's remove that. We'll go to the next phase. Now, like I said earlier, this is fully optional. I designed this simple case where the lid snaps onto the back. There is no hole for the USB cable. I'll be drilling one in, but in the final design I'll actually put one for you guys. So let's have a look here. Okay, I'm going to put it like that. It fits nice and snug, and it'll look like this. I put nice little round corners just to make things a little cleaner. So my glue gun should be pretty much ready now. I'm going to use since it's deep, I'm going to use a toothpick, sorry, and I'm going to apply some glue and put some around the edges, and that'll hold the LCD screen in place. Got some little spider webs there. I'll repeat the process. I think I'll put some on the top here. Get rid of these spider webs. And one more time at the bottom. Perfect. So now, sorry, I got a few spider webs on my fingers. So now let's test it out to make sure it works. There we go. That looks pretty good. Still gotta glue the Node MCU module. Now for this, I pre-fit it so that the cable can fit in properly and just stick out a little bit. You need to go as much as you can inside the box, but at the same time you got to be careful, because right here, this little round object here, this is what you turn to adjust the brightness of the LCD screen. Now it's already been adjusted, so I know it's good, but I want to keep that option available in the future. So I'm just going to go as close as possible without actually touching it, and I'll apply some glue. Uh-oh. The cable has broken. That's not good. Let's fix that cable. That just broke. Alright, so I'm going to put some tin on the cable here. There we go. Perfect. And now I'm going to redo the connection here. Okay, so that's D1. Yeah. This is tricky. Come on. I think that's good. Yeah, that should be good. So let's test it again. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so carefully, I'm going to put it as deep as I can because the cable has a certain thickness to it, and I want the lid to shut. And put some glue, some hot glue. Doesn't need a whole lot, just a little bit. I think I'll put some in the corner here, like so. All right, I'm going to put a little bit on the top, as it's a bit wobbly, and with the cable, I don't want it to get out of place. There we go. And that should be it. With my lid, just snaps into place. We got a full unit. Like I said earlier, I will be drilling a hole so that the cable can fit in and then it can shut properly. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned a thing or two about building small electronic projects. And as always, thanks for watching.